In Chapter 2. The Veil. The laboratory of Dr. Marcus Chen resembled the mind of its occupant, meticulously organized chaos. Holographic displays flickered across 3 walls, each one streaming data in configurations that would appear random to most observers. But Elena Reyes had known Marcus long enough to recognize the patterns in his madness, the method to his particular brand of scientific inquiry. "Commander," he acknowledged, without looking up from the quantum resonance array he was calibrating. His hands moved with the precision of a concert pianist, adjusting variables in midair. "I was about to call you." Elena stepped carefully around a cluster of sensors arranged in what appeared to be a miniature-scale model of the outer colonies. 3 blinking red dots marked the locations of outposts that had gone silent. Sigma, Proxima, New Anchorage. Nearly 4,000 people vanished without a trace. "Please tell me you have something, Marcus." She didn't bother hiding the exhaustion in her voice. 3 days without proper sleep had left dark circles under her eyes and a perpetual tension in her shoulders. For the first time since she'd entered, Marcus looked up. Unlike most of the station's personnel, he seemed energized, his eyes bright behind rimless glasses, an affectation he maintained despite ocular implants that had corrected his vision years ago. "I've been analyzing the quantum field disturbances recorded at each colony prior to communication loss," he said, gesturing to one of the displays. Everyone assumed they were random fluctuations, background noise. They're not. He made a pulling motion with his hands, and one of the holographic displays expanded, filling the center of the room. A 3-dimensional waveform rotated slowly. Before them, bands of blue and violet light pulsing in complex patterns. "This is from Outpost Sigma, 12 hours before contact was lost." Another gesture, and a second waveform appeared alongside the first. "This is from Proxima, 14 hours before they went dark." A third appeared, New Anchorage, 10 hours before. Elena studied the patterns, her tactical mind searching for the connection. They look similar, but not similar, identical. Marcus clapped his hands together, and the 3 waveforms merged into one. "The phase variance is less than 0.003%. That's not random noise, Commander. That's a signature." "A signature of what exactly?" Instead of answering immediately, Marcus walked to a workstation and retrieved a small device that resembled a handheld scanner. "After I identified the pattern, I designed this to detect it at much lower amplitudes. And guess what? It's everywhere. Background levels throughout the station, throughout the system, but it spikes before each disappearance." "You're saying these energy patterns are connected to whatever happened to our people?" "I'm saying they're not a byproduct. They're not a side effect." Marcus's voice lowered, as if he were about to share a secret. "I think they're a signature of whoever or whatever is taking them." Elena crossed her arms. Marcus was brilliant, but he had a tendency toward the dramatic. "That's a leap, Doctor. We don't know that anyone was taken. There could be a natural explanation. Natural phenomena don't leave behind half-eaten meals with no signs of disturbance," Marcus countered. "And they don't produce quantum resonance patterns with mathematical precision." He had a point. Elena had seen the abandoned outposts herself, the eerie stillness, personal effects left behind. No signs of struggle, no emergency protocols activated, just absence. "So what are we dealing with? Some kind of weapon? A new stealth technology?" Marcus took a deep breath. "I think we're dealing with incursions." "Incursions?" Elena repeated, her brow furrowing. "From elsewhere." When Elena's expression didn't change, he continued. "Not just from another star system, from outside our reality." Now Elena's posture stiffened. "You're talking about interdimensional contact. That's theoretical physics, Marcus. Not exactly relevant to our current crisis. It's only theoretical because we haven't had proof." Marcus's voice took on the patient tone of a professor explaining a concept to a promising but skeptical student. "But look at this." He manipulated the holographic display again, focusing on a particular section of the waveform. "These patterns, suggest quantum entanglement across dimensional boundaries. The math adds up. It's the only explanation that fits all the data. Elena had worked with Marcus long enough to know when he was speculating and when he was certain. The look in his eyes told her this was the latter. So, you're telling me our people are being… What? Abducted by beings from another dimension? I'm saying there's something moving between realities. I've been calling it the veil, the boundary between our universe and… others. And something is crossing through it. Elena was about to respond when her comm unit chimed. Lieutenant Koga's voice came through, tense and controlled. Commander, we're detecting unusual energy readings at Research Station Delta, similar to the pattern preceding the other disappearances. Marcus's eyes widened. The resonance signature? If that's what you're calling it, then yes, Doctor. It's building rapidly. Elena was already moving toward the door. How long? Based on the escalation rate, less than 2 hours before it peaks. Prep a shuttle. Full tactical team. And Chen… She turned back to the scientist, who was already gathering equipment. Bring your detector. We're going to see this veil of yours firsthand. I'm coming with you? He looked both terrified and thrilled. If we're facing interdimensional, visitors. I want my xenobiologist on site. She checked her sidearm, a habit from years of command. Besides, you're the only one who understands what we're looking for. As they hurried through the station corridors, Elena's mind raced. First contact was the stuff of theoretical training exercises at the academy, not something she'd ever expected to face. And certainly not like this, not with people vanishing without a trace. Marcus, she said as they approached the shuttle bay. If you're right about this veil, what do they want with our people? The scientist's expression was grim. That's what worries me, Commander. In all the theoretical models of interdimensional contact, there's only one reason an advanced civilization would extract populations from another reality. Which is? Because their own is dying. The shuttle bay doors slid open, revealing the tactical team already boarding. Lieutenant Koga stood at attention, his expression grave as he handed Elena the latest data on Research Station Delta. 47 personnel, families, children. As the shuttle engines powered up, Elena made a silent promise to those people. This time would be different. This time, they would arrive before the silence fell, and if Marcus was right, if there really was something crossing through from another reality, she would be there to meet it. Research Station Delta hung in space like a delicate metal flower. Its petals of solar arrays turned toward the distant sun. As their shuttle approached, everything appeared normal. No visible damage, no distress signals, standard operating. Lights glowing along its hull. Life signs? Elena asked as they neared the docking bay. Koga checked the scanner. All accounted for. Stations running on normal power, environmental systems nominal. Marcus, however, was staring at his custom detector with growing concern. The resonance pattern is intensifying. We've got maybe 20 minutes before it peaks. Elena nodded to the tactical team. 6 men and women in light combat gear. Standard. Entry protocol. We're here to evacuate, not engage. If you encounter anything unusual, report immediately. No heroics. The docking procedure went smoothly. Too smoothly, Elena thought. If there was an imminent threat, why hadn't the station personnel initiated any security measures? As the airlock cycled and the inner doors slid open, they were met not by security personnel, but by Dr. Elaine Kohler, the station's director. Her expression was calm, almost serene. Commander Reyes, she said with a slight nod. We weren't expecting a visit from Central Command. Something about her demeanor sent a chill down Elena's spine. Dr. Kohler, we've detected unusual energy patterns around the station, similar to those recorded before we lost contact with Outpost Sigma. We're implementing an immediate evacuation. Kohler's expression didn't change. That won't be necessary, Commander. Everything is under control. Behind Elena, Marcus's detector emitted a soft, insistent beep that was growing more frequent by the second. He whispered, The resonance is increasing. 15 minutes? Elena gestured to Koga. Lieutenant, begin evacuation procedures. Priority to families with children. Kola stepped forward, blocking their path. I'm afraid I can't allow that, Commander. They're already here. The tactical team's hands moved to their weapons, but Elena held up a hand, stopping them. Who's here, Doctor? Instead of answering, Kola smiled and turned her gaze to a point just behind Elena's left shoulder. Perhaps you should ask them yourself. Elena turned. The corridor behind them, which had been empty moments before, now shimmered like heat rising from sun-baked metal. The air rippled and folded in on itself, creating a distortion that hurt to look at directly. Marcus. Elena's voice was steady, despite the adrenaline flooding her system. The scientist was staring at his device, which was now emitting a continuous tone. The veil, he whispered. It's opening. The distortion expanded, stretching from floor to ceiling. Within it, shapes began to form, human-like silhouettes that seemed to be walking forward through thick liquid, their movements unnaturally fluid, their features indistinct. One of the tactical team members raised her weapon. Commander! Hold, Elena ordered, though her own hand had moved instinctively to her sidearm. No one fires unless I give the order. The first figure emerged from the distortion. Humanoid, dressed in what appeared to be a form-fitting suit of material that shimmered with the same visual distortion as the veil itself. Its features were obscured by what Elena first took to be a helmet, but then realized was a continuation of the suit, covering the entire head with a reflective surface that rippled like the surface of water. Two more figures followed, identical. To the first. They've been coming for 3 days, Kola said, her voice strangely distant. Observing, communicating. You've been in contact with them, Elena demanded, turning back to the station director. Why wasn't Central Command informed? They asked us not to, Kola replied simply. They said it would only complicate things. Marcus stepped forward, his scientific curiosity overcoming his fear. How do they communicate? Verbally? Telepathically? Both. Neither. Kohler smiled again, that same serene expression. It's difficult to explain to someone who hasn't experienced it. They don't speak as we do. They resonate with our thoughts, our memories. Elena felt a chill that had nothing to do with the station's temperature. Dr. Kohler, whatever they've told you, whatever they've promised, we need to evacuate this station now. The other outposts went willingly, Kohler finished for her. As will we. The lead figure from the veil took another step forward. As it moved, its reflective face rippled more intensely. And for just a moment, Elena thought she saw features beneath, human features that seemed strangely familiar. Then it spoke, and the voice seemed to bypass her ears entirely, resonating directly in her mind. Elena. The shock of hearing her name, feeling it inside her thoughts, froze her in place. We have been waiting for you. Who are you? She demanded, fighting to keep her voice steady. What do you want with these people? The figure tilted its head slightly, the motion eerily smooth. We are what you become. We are what saves you. Marcus stepped forward, his scientific curiosity evidently overcoming his fear. You're from another reality? A parallel Earth? We are from many realities, all collapsing, all ending. Elena felt a cold knot form in her stomach. And our people, the missing colonies? Safe, transferred. The collapse comes for all realities, but not at the same rate. We move those we can before it is too late. What collapse? Elena demanded. What are you talking about? The figure extended a hand toward her, and for a moment, Elena felt a pressure in her mind, like someone gently but insistently attempting to open a door. We can show you. We can... Commander! Koga's voice cut through the strange mental connection. Security feeds from the residential section. People are vanishing, just disappearing in mid-motion. The figure lowered its hand. The transit has begun. We cannot stop it now. Elena's tactical training took over. All personnel, initiate emergency evacuation. Get everyone to the shuttle, now. The tactical team moved immediately, but Dr. Kohler stepped in front of them again, her expression hardening. No, you don't understand. This is salvation, not danger. The visitors have shown us. The decay is coming. They're saving us from it. Elena grabbed Kohler's arm, Doctor, people are disappearing without consent. That's not salvation, that's abduction. Not abduction. The voice in her mind again. Preservation. Your reality is beginning to unravel at the quantum level. We have seen it before, in our own worlds. First at the edges of your system, then moving inward. Commander! It was Marcus this time, his voice tight with excitement and fear. The resonance pattern, it's changing. I've never seen readings like this. The distortion behind the visitors seemed to expand, the air folding and unfolding in impossible geometries. Through it, Elena caught glimpses of somewhere else, a vast chamber filled with similar portals, figures moving between them, and beyond that, structures that her mind couldn't quite process. You must understand, the figure continued. We can only save so many. The process requires precise quantum alignment between individuals across realities. Not everyone has a viable counterpart. So you're cherry-picking? Elena demanded. Deciding who lives and who dies? We are saving who we can. A tactical team member rushed back into the corridor. Commander, residential section is half empty already. Whatever's happening, it's accelerating. Elena made a decision. Everyone back to the shuttle. Now, we're leaving. She turned to Kola. Doctor, you and your people have a choice. Come. With us or stay with them. Kolar's serene expression didn't change. We've already made our choice, Commander. I suggest you make yours. The lead figure stepped closer to Elena, and this time when it spoke, she felt not just words but images flooding her mind. Planets with surfaces that seemed to ripple and dissolve, stars that flickered like faulty lights, space itself folding. Inward, it comes for all realities eventually. But there is a project, a possibility. We call it the Lighthouse. The name sent an inexplicable shiver down Elena's spine, as if she'd heard it before, in a dream, long forgotten. Beneath the ice of Europa, a secret already beginning in your world. Commander! Koga called from the Yeo airlock. We need to go now. Elena stepped back from the visitor, breaking the mental connection. The images faded, leaving her with a profound sense of dread. And something else. A certainty that she couldn't explain. This isn't over, she told the figure. Whatever's happening, whatever you're doing, we won't just surrender our people without understanding. The figure's reflective face rippled once more, and this time, Elena was certain. Beneath the liquid-like surface was a face that mirrored her own, older perhaps, lined with experiences she hadn't yet lived. No, came the response. It's only beginning. Find the lighthouse, Elena Reyes. Find it before it's too late. As Elena backed toward the airlock, the distortion behind the visitors began to contract. The figures stepped backward into it, their movements that same unnatural fluidity, until they were gone. The air rippled one final time, then settled back to normal, as if nothing had happened. But as their shuttle disengaged from the station and accelerated away, Elena watched through the viewport as sections of Research Station Delta began to shimmer, with that same distortion. Entire modules of the facility seemed to fold inward upon themselves, disappearing not in destruction but in transition. Within minutes, all that remained was the central hub and a few outer sections. 47 lives gone. Transferred, the visitors had claimed, to somewhere beyond her reality. Commander, Marcus said quietly beside her, his detector now silent in his hands. They knew your name, and what they showed you. Later, Elena cut him off, her eyes still fixed on the partially vanished station. We need to report to Central Command, and then... Then what? Koga asked. Elena turned from the viewport, her expression hardening with resolve. Then we find out what's happening. On Europa. Continued in the next chapter.